winding roads of West Virginia hold many secrets, but few are as disturbing as the legend of Highway 666. A remote, fog-shrouded path cloaked in darkness, where a sinister clown appears in the moments leading up to unexplained tragedies. Drivers report seeing him standing by the roadside, motionless, watching. Others claim he appears inside their vehicles, grinning in the rearview mirror. But the worst are those who never get to tell their stories, because they met their end on those treacherous curves. Mere coincidence? A trick of the exhausted mind? Or an ancient curse still lingering on the blood-stained asphalt? One thing is certain: those who see the clown never walk away unscathed. The first documented sighting of the clown dates back to the 1960s, when a trucker named Bill Henderson was driving alone on Highway 666 on a cold, foggy night. He was used to long-haul routes and had driven through many deserted roads before, but something about that night felt different. The road twisted like a maze, flanked by gnarled trees that seemed to close in around the path. The wind howled, carrying the scent of damp earth and rust. Bill's eyelids were heavy, but something kept him awake, the eerie feeling of being watched. Then he saw it. As he rounded a tight curve, his headlights illuminated a figure standing at the roadside. It was a man dressed as a clown, wearing tattered, dirt-stained clothes. His face was pale as chalk, his eyes piercing and unblinking, and his grotesque smile stretched unnaturally wide. A chill crawled up Bill's spine, and every instinct told him to keep driving, to never look back. But curiosity got the better of him. He glanced in the rearview mirror, and to his horror, the clown was gone. Then, a distant laugh echoed through the air, low and drawn out, as if coming from inside his own mind. His radio crackled, and a voice whispered his name. Ice shot through Bill's veins, and he instinctively turned his head. The clown was in the passenger seat. His face was inches away, grinning. Dazed and drenched in sweat, Bill slammed his foot on the accelerator, trying to shake the image from his mind. But moments later, a shadow flickered in his peripheral vision. A flash of color in the middle of the road. In a split-second reaction, Bill jerked the wheel violently. The truck skidded, lost control, and veered off the road, crashing into an embankment. The impact was brutal, but he survived, bloodied and shaken. He survived, but the clown did not disappear. As Bill regained consciousness, he swore he saw the clown standing by the wreckage, grinning that same unnatural grin before fading into the darkness. By morning, rescuers found Bill in shock, mumbling, "He laughed! He was there! He laughed at me." Since then, many drivers have reported similar experiences. Some say he appears suddenly in the middle of the road, forcing them to slam on the brakes. Others see him standing silently on the roadside, smiling as if he knows what's coming next. The second account. In 1987, a college student named Lisa Carter was driving along Highway 666 on her way home to Charleston. The night was eerily silent, with not a single car in sight. Her radio started glitching, alternating between static and barely audible whispers. Fatigue weighed on her, but then she saw something at the roadside, a hunched figure in a colorful suit, staring into nothingness. A clown. Lisa's breath hitched as a cold wave ran down her spine. She slowed the car slightly, her headlights illuminating the figure. The clown snapped his head up suddenly, as if sensing her gaze. His face was dirty and lined with wrinkles, his grin stretching too wide to be human. But the most chilling detail was his eyes, completely black, void of any soul. Panic surged through Lisa. She floored the gas pedal, heart hammering. But then, a shrill, distorted laugh filled the car, echoing as if it came from inside. The radio spewed static, then a whisper repeated her name. The air inside the vehicle turned frigid, carrying the nauseating scent of damp earth and rust. She glanced at the rearview mirror, her stomach clenched in terror. The clown was in the back seat, smiling, lifeless eyes locked onto hers. His reflection was warped, unnatural. Screaming, Lisa tore her gaze away, fumbling to open the door while the car sped down the empty highway. But when she risked another glance, the back seat was empty. Then, something ice-cold brushed her neck. Terror exploded in her veins. She stomped on the gas, but the treacherous road, lined with sharp curves, betrayed her. Suddenly, an animal darted across the highway. Lisa swerved, losing control. The car skidded off the road, rolling 3 times before coming to a stop. Hanging upside down in the wreckage, dazed and struggling to breathe, she heard faint footsteps approaching. In the shadows of the night, the clown stood just outside the shattered window, watching. His chest rose and fell with deep, heavy breaths. Lisa tried to scream, but no sound came out. He tilted his head, studying her like a curious predator. Then, slowly, he lifted a hand and pressed it against the glass, leaving a bloody smear. And just like that, he was gone. When paramedics arrived, they found Lisa in shock, whispering the same words over and over. He was inside. He was inside. Her case was dismissed as a hallucination from exhaustion, but those who know the legend believe there is something far darker lurking on that road. The third account. In 2003, a state trooper named Michael Reynolds was patrolling Highway 666 in the dead of night when he received a report of an abandoned vehicle on the shoulder. When he arrived, he found a black sedan with its doors unlocked and headlights flickering. No one was inside, but the radio was on, emitting static mixed with faint whispers. Scanning the area, Michael noticed muddy footprints leading into the dense forest. He followed the trail with his flashlight, calling out. The woods were unnervingly quiet, broken only by the rustling wind. Then he saw it. A tall figure in a filthy, tattered clown suit stood between the trees, perfectly still. Its black eyes gleamed in the darkness, and that twisted smile stretched across its face. Michael's breath hitched as an icy paralysis gripped him. His radio crackled, and a garbled, inhuman laugh erupted from the speaker, deafening in its intensity. The clown stepped forward, and Michael saw that its feet weren't touching the ground. Its grin widened, revealing jagged, rotting teeth. Michael reached for his gun and fired. The bullet passed through the figure as if it wasn't there. In an instant, the clown vanished, leaving only a trail of dirty footprints in the soil. At his feet lay a blood-stained circus ball. That night, Michael abandoned his patrol and requested a transfer. He never returned to Highway 666. To this day, he refuses to speak of what he saw. Some believe the clown is tied to an old tragedy. Legends tell of a traveling circus that passed through West Virginia in the early 1900s. During a violent storm, a clown's wagon veered off a cliff, killing him instantly. His body was never recovered, but locals whisper that his spirit still roams the highway, either as a warning or as the harbinger of doom. Coincidence or omen? Skeptics dismiss the Highway 666 clown as fatigue-induced hallucination, but the sheer number of reports raises doubts. Even state troopers admit that bizarre accidents occur frequently where the clown has been spotted. The final warning. If you ever find yourself driving down Highway 666 late at night and see a strange figure on the roadside, stay calm, keep driving, don't slow down, don't check your mirror, and above all, don't smile back.